Shalom, shalom, Akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which will be preached throughout all four corners of this earth and rest upon the ears of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. Shalom, beloved Akiyam and Akwaf is just Bayan back again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to get into this this land back, this response off of a response Elder Manat Zakba did regarding this conversion of a Jake from Christianity to his true nationality, which would be a Hebrew Israelite, man. All right, now, just to qualify this, the true Christians, are the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, which the word Christian means Mashiachim, which means the followers of the anointed. All right, and when we say, you wacky-tacky Christians and we pointing you out, we're talking about the modern sense of the term, or of the word, rather. Because we know, pursuant to Acts 11, the Jews were first called Christians in Antioch. You see, it was a derogatory statement used towards the Israelites during the time of the Roman persecution. But needless to say, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, has taken the Bible, and formulated this modern-day Christianity in the form of the 501c3 Jesuit-style tax charter form of religion, which pretty much he used to indoctrinate, the world, man, for that matter. Because ultimately what he tries to do is he tries to execute replacement theology through the form of doctrine that he's formulated. And what he does is he cancels out the chosen people, and establishes a universal doctrine, which is totally contrary to what the scriptures are going into. And he also puts himself at the head of the pack, of the heathen nations to, be part of this so-called, universal doctrine that he's formulated. As we know, he's taken the Messiah, made him a clean leper. He's made the Heavenly Father a clean leper, all the angels, our forefathers, our foremothers. They're all clean lepers, according to Esau, Edom, the so-called white man's doctrine, according to his philosophy. And again, what he's done is he's taken this white supremacy form of doctrine, and he's shoved it, into the minds of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And we all come from a background where, we fell victim, to one of the denominations, that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man has formulated, But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, upon this great awakening, upon the word of the Lord going forth, he's calling back his children, man. He's calling back his sons and daughters in these latter days, in efforts for prophecy to be fulfilled via the salvation that's been preordained, man. And now we see that many are being called, but few are going to be chosen. You see, so we hope and pray. We're prisoners of hope. We hope and pray that we're part of that precious number, man. But it's without a reasonable doubt, we've been called. And then what we have here is a young Jake. He's been called, man. As you can see, he has a testimony of him being in Christianity in 2017, and we're gonna play the video. All right, and you're going to see that. You're going to see the transition through the power of the Lord. You know, showing you that, you know, at the end of the day, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, all right, his word, all right, doesn't go out void. It's a mighty work, all right, that the men of the Lord have been established to do in the form of preaching his gospel. All right, it's not being done in vain. You see? All right, this word is gathering the Lord's elect, is what it's doing. His word is not going to go out void, as it tells us in Isaiah. Let's go get this real quick. And it's a beautiful testimony. That's why I was moved through the Spirit to actually do a response on it as well. A few precepts came to mind through the Spirit, which speak to this young brother's testimony. All right, now this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, and verse 10, and it reads, "For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth in bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth." And we know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai speaks through who? His servants, the prophets. All right, the servants, the prophets, are his mouthpiece. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's get one precept to prove that. Let's go to the book of Hosea, chapter 12, and verse 10, and it reads, "I have also spoken by the prophets." You see that? This is the Lord. Matter of fact, let me start up. I'll start at verse 9. And I that am the Lord Yahweh, thy power from the land of Egypt, will yet make thee to dwell in tabernacles as in the days of the solemn feasts. I have also spoken by my prophets, man. So you see, this is Yahweh, man. Okay, making this talking point. Okay? Listen, and I have multiplied visions, man. Which the visions go into the oracles, it goes into the prophecies, the divine communication. Look, and use similitudes by the ministry of the prophets, right? Because all the prophets seen a similar vision. All right, it was just in their time. All right, that's why all the prophets are cohesive. All right, with the prophecies that are ordained in the scriptures, man. All right, they see eye to eye. All right. So you see, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has spoken by who? By the prophets, man. So jumping back to Isaiah 55 and 11, and it reads, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth." I'm showing you that it's going to be coming out of the mouth of prophets, man. The Lord's word. Look it. "It shall not return unto me void." See? It's not going to return unto him empty. "But it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." You see, so the Lord's words are not going to go out. I'm not going to return unto him void. They're not going to return unto him empty, man. You see? And when this word reaches a specific vessel, regardless of what you're into, regardless what type of life you're living, all right, regardless what type of ambitions you may have had, you are going to be stopped in your tracks, and you're going to come to the Lord. All right? If that is your will, you are going to come to the Lord, man. You are not going to be able to resist the Lord. There's no such thing as free will, and you're not going to be able to resist him if it's your lot to be drawn to him. Matter of fact, let's get one more, and we're going to play this clip. The book of Romans, chapter 9. In verse 19, but I'm going to start at verse 18. It reads, "Therefore have he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will hardeneth." And whom he will, he hardeneth, man. Okay, now we know this is talking to Pharaoh, but we can use this in this talking point regarding, generally speaking, as far as the Lord's mercy, man. He'll have mercy whoever his thoughts are not our thoughts, man. His ways are not our ways. It says that in Isaiah 55. Okay, and his mercy is not our mercy. The mercy of the Lord is beyond the mercy of man. You see? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has forgiven us for things you won't forgive your old lady for. You see? So the Lord will have mercy on whom he will have mercy, man. Okay? And whom he will, he'll harden it, man. You see? You got Jake, stiff-necked, two-third niggas that won't stop. The Lord's doing that to him. All right? The Lord got Jake in the corner with a Black and Mild in his ear and, you know, a 3.5 in his pocket. You know, with dirty fingernails, gripping the 40 in the brown paper bag. That's the Lord got that nigga like that, man. You see? Let's continue on. Romans 9:19. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doeth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will? And this is the reason why I'm bringing this out. Who has resisted Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua's will? There's a question mark there. The answer to this question, you guessed it. Nobody. Okay? Everybody is at the mercy of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua's will. Alright? He controls your destiny, whether you believe it or not. You see? And here it is. You got Jake in 2017 in a mindset of coming out of his neck towards the Israelites. But watch the transition.
Religion that is emerging so rapidly that many Black and Latinos are falling into it because it's so seducing.
Yeah.
It's so self-empowered.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you're your own God.
Yeah.
It's called the Hebrew Israelites, the Black Jews.
Yeah.
The part of the Hebrew Israelites is a growing demonic doctrine that is believe that only the true Jews, the colored people, will be saved. They preach that all white people are Edomites, descendants of Esau, that all whites are the devil. It is full of racism, hate, fear, and legalism.
Amen.
They preach that we have to follow all 613 laws and commandments of the Old Covenant to be saved.
Right.
Not in faith in Jesus Christ alone.
For your merchants were the great men of the earth.
Right.
For by your sorcery, all nations were deceived.
Right. So through the United States sorcery, through Christian.
Well, I don't know if you realize it, but I'm going to hip you. That's old boy right there that you see in the previous clip. Coming up against the word. Look at him now.
Christianity, right? Christianity, that's sorcery. That's the highest form of witchcraft. It's Christianity, right? So everybody on the earth claims to be some form of Christian, but Christianity is not found in the Bible nowhere.
Yeah, right, I'm watching.
Right? Christianity is not found. Right? Seventh-day Adventist is not found in the Bible. Right? None. Baptist is not found in the Bible. Pentecostal is not found in the Bible. Christianity is not even found in the Bible. Right? But Christianity, when we were enslaved to the white man, that's the witchcraft that they chose to give us, was Christianity. That's the highest form of Satanism. That's the highest form of witchcraft. That's Christianity. That's this white Jesus right here. Right? Read.
All praise to you.
So you see that? You see the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua? All right, pulled them right out of that rubbish. All right, as far as Christianity is concerned, and brought them into the light. Now, granted, all right, they are wearing fringe t-shirts. Okay, but contrary to that, what we have to understand, we know how Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua operates, and what he'll do is he'll bring you into the truth in stages. Okay, hey, I can testify to that. Okay, when I came in, I came in under Watchman for Israel, Adam Abbott, is when I first caught wind. Okay, Adam Abbott, I seen him teaching via the YouTube. You know how he was, a quick draw, with the precepts, and cutting Edomites and cutting 2/3 Jake. All that looks cute, but when it came down to the get down, when it came down to the nuts and bolts of things, it got to a point where that began to get, played out, and the spirit started transitioning me, all right, elsewhere. And I found myself, tapping into African diaspora. I'm not sure if you are Akiyam and Agwa hip with that show. I forgot the name of the old boy Jake. You know, about how we tapping into the African diaspora. There was another show I was tapping into as well. Another YouTuber. What was his name? I forgot his name. But he was tapping into information. He was talking about this is Turtle Island. America was trying, you know, the various information he would bring out. But I was still thirsty. Is the point I'm making. You know, tapping into certain red pill, you know, whatever information. Just Jake was still thirsty. You know, glancing into Islam, Jake was thirsty. You see? You know, what did Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai do? He led me, all right, to the school of the prophets. Not to speak about myself, but just give that brief testimony. Okay? And the beloved brothers in Birmingham, Alabama. Okay? Via Elder Awaram. Okay, is what through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, I became quickened. It was through them beloved brothers, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. Mysteries of the kingdom, man. I would tap in, take notes. You know, once I started getting settled, lost my job. You know, I was out of work for a whole year. The Lord had sat me down. You know, all I was doing was taking notes, studying. You know, and then the Lord brought me in. But it was stages. I was still in error. Okay, in the beginning. So I say all that to say this. Yeah, these brothers are wearing French t-shirts. I never did that. But it's a transition. You know, this brother can probably be the Lord can be probably transitioning them. You know, doing it in stages. Because when you come into the courts of the Lord, and I say that what I mean by that is when you come into the fold, man. All right, when you start dwelling amongst the brothers. All right, from Great Millstone on down to the like-minded men, you're entering into a different arena. All right, you're entering into the inner courts. You see, so there's a level of there's a level of there's a certain what's the word I'm looking for? There's a certain level of standard. There's a standard. Okay? When you come into the courts, all right, of the school of the prophets, man. There's a standard that's required. You got to be built up to that standard. So the Lord may just be building brothers up, you know, because you do have to get that garment down to the foot. You know, you got to do things decently and in order, Jake. You know, but it is a beautiful thing, you know, that the Lord has woken you up to the capacity of pulling you out of that rubbish. All right, as far as Christianity is concerned, man. All right, which pretty much has led our people into a burning building. But this is beautiful, man. It goes to show that, you know, what we're doing, again, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. All right, the ministry of Yahweh Shai, all right, has been resurrected. Okay, and the men that are bringing forth the true understanding, the true testimony of the Lord, all right, this is the result. All right, a man coming into the understanding. Okay, and this is no light thing. Let me go get this real quick in James. The book of James, chapter 5. Bear with me. In verse 20, but I'm going to start at verse 19. It reads, Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth, and one convert him, let him know that he which converteth the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins, man. Okay? So listen, hey, going back to Isaiah 55, the Lord's word is not going out void, Akiyam. Alright, this is a mighty work that's being performed through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Going back to the talking point I was making earlier in the live stream lesson I did this morning before work. You know, I had mentioned, well, we had read, what did we get? 1 Corinthians 4. You know, the angels marvel at what we do, at what we're doing, man. All right, it's also mentioned in 1 Peter the first chapter, right around the, I want to say the, is it the 12th verse, if I'm not mistaken. You see the angels marvel at what we do, man, because this is a mighty work in these corruptible vessels, man. You see? The Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. Because he caught wind of the truth to a capacity to have him turn from that rubbish. You see, and we're going to be seeing this leading up to the salvation, man. Okay? We're going to be seeing this. Hey, we were all there. You know? We were all in the position of Aaron in the spirit, man. And as a matter of fact, I got one more. If the Lord allows, if this, going through the spirit. What is that, Isaiah? The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, I believe it is. In the last verse. Here it goes. The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, and verse 24, and it reads, they also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, man. And this is what you witness right here. He's come to a level of understanding. Because as we can see, you know, they still got the, you know, they got the fringe t-shirt. You know, they got the mixed signs. One came from IUIC, the other one came from, you know, the brothers. So, you know, they're just still trying to figure things out. But it's the Lord. It's the Lord doing it. Because at the end of the day, hey, we read it in Romans 9, the Lord will have mercy whom he will have mercy, man. And the fact that he came from out of Christianity into this word, you know, he's standing on all 10 toes, prophesying before the wind. Hey, call out how about Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Because that's not going to, these works are not going to go out void. You know, Lord willing, he comes into the understanding, the full understanding. You see? Get that garment down to the foot and lock in. Look. Isaiah 29 and 24, and it reads, they also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. So those that murmured, those that were talking shit and had a lot to say, okay, are going to actually come to the conclusion that guess what? They were wrong. They were actually wrong. But it's going to take a great humbling for them to come to that conclusion. Okay? We don't know what old boy went through to come to the conclusion that he was wrong. But one thing's for sure, he came to that conclusion. Okay? Because he's no longer under the illusion of Seja Borgia, everybody being saved, and God loves everybody being the reality of the doctrine. You see? Ka'alayam la Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Hey, keep working, Akiyam. Hey, stay prayed up. Stay faithful. You know, you beloved Akiyam and Akwab. All right, fast as well as pray. You already know Yahweh Shai's on his way, man. Shalom.